Home for me right now is still currently Indiana, but I do go to school in Charlotte, but I love it in both places.
And so you were born in Indiana?
I was born in Florida, but we moved to Indiana when I was very young.
Okay. And how long have you been in the Charlotte area?
Been in the Charlotte area for, oh gosh, about 3 years now. I'm a junior? Yeah.
So describe your experience in the last 2 years from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh gosh, so the COVID-19 pandemic, I think I was still a senior in high school, so we all kind of took it as a joke at first because it was right around spring break. And we're all like, yes, extra 2 weeks of spring break. And then we just never went back to high school. And now I'm a junior in college, so it's a little weird. It was, let's see, goodness, what am I going to talk about first? Probably how I feel like I never really got closure from transitioning to high school to college because we never really graduated. We never had that big stage. We literally drove through a track and someone handed me my degree, so it just kind of felt weird.
Can you think back to the early days of lockdown and kind of like what you did during the very beginning of the pandemic?
Very beginning of the pandemic, I had just gotten a job at a daycare through the school that I went to, and it was weird just kind of seeing the numbers of kids dropping, like because COVID got more intense as it went on, and at first people took it as a joke, and then all the kids just like dropped out of school. People were keeping their kids home, and there was a lot of fear of the daycare closing down if we ever had a breakthrough in the daycare, like a spread of COVID through the daycare. And so a lot of like adults that I saw that worked there with me were like scared because that was their main source of income to like feed their kids and stuff. So it was a little scary.
So were you able to work at the daycare even through lockdown, like the entire time?
Yes, I was. We, thank God, did not ever close. I don't know how because kids are very sickly, but thankfully we were able to work through the whole pandemic.
Yeah. Did you see a difference in the kids' behaviors, like with what just everything that's going on?
Yeah, so we had a double mask up. So we had just a regular mask and like a shield. So a lot of the newborns that we had at the time weren't able to see our facial expressions and like our mouth moving. So like a lot of them were delayed in speech compared to their older kids. So that was something we've noticed. I know.
Shifting gears a little bit, would you say that your friendships or family relationships changed during the pandemic?
Definitely. I feel like at least me and my mom have gotten so much closer during the pandemic because we were both like kind of forced in the same area. So that was really nice. And friendships as well have been a lot closer.
Yeah. Can you think of a time that you helped someone that was affected by COVID-19, whether it was someone who was sick and you brought them something, someone who knew someone else that was sick and cared for them, or anything, any way they were affected by COVID?
Oh goodness. So there was a family in the daycare that actually got COVID. Their youngest got COVID, and it was scary because they went to the hospital. So I think me and a lot of my coworkers just like went over and we brought them like groceries and stuff just to help them through that.
Can you describe what your experience was like going out in public at the height of the pandemic when everyone was wearing masks and gloves and things like that? Like, how did that make you feel?
When we didn't know a lot of information about COVID, terrified, just because I did have a lot of high risk in my family, and I wasn't really scared for myself because I'm a healthy young individual. I wasn't worried for myself, I was worried for others. And then seeing others that like just did not care kind of like angered me a little bit, but it was scary at first.
Would you say that the pandemic has changed your normal day-to-day routines?
Yeah, I feel like I clean a lot more. I definitely clean a lot more than I used to. I think more about like out spaces than I used to, like sitting in like airplanes. You don't think about how people like clean them after and stuff like that.
Could you think of any long-lasting consequences of the pandemic? Just off the top of your head. I mean, you talked about kids being delayed in speech.
Yeah.
So that could be long, but is there any other lasting consequences?
Besides the one I mentioned earlier, I feel like just all the families that have been affected by this pandemic and like all the losses that have been had during this pandemic. But other than that, I don't know many long-standing ones.
Yeah. Can you think of any good things that you learned from your experience during the pandemic?
Good things that I learned. Give me a second. Good things.
in here, you can hear the basketball.
Oh goodness.
Great.
Trey, be quiet. I don't know. What have other people said?
I don't. Our Professor Wynn. It's a great detail. We can skip that question.
Okay.
You can't think of anything good, that's fine.
Yeah,
I was like,
you can say, like, honestly, I can't think of anything good.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, I can't think of anything good.
Okay, well, what was the process of transitioning between like restrictions and recommendations coming and going as the last couple of years ago? I know like sometimes masks are required, sometimes they aren't. Sometimes they wear them inside, don't wear them outside. Sometimes they throw them outside, like especially on campus. Yeah. How has that process been like for you?
Oh gosh, that process has been a whirlwind. So Indiana and North Carolina have very different laws and regulations. So going there, like home for the summer, and then here it's very different. So like here they like are more strict, and then at home they just didn't care at all. So going to grocery stores at home, I'd be the only one wearing a mask, and I'd be looking crazy. But as of here, if I didn't wear a mask at first, I'd be looking crazy. And then on campus, we'd have to wear a mask outside when the CDC had a total different regulation at the time. And I think now we're at a place where where everyone's on the same page, but at first it was just, oh gosh, nuts.
Stressful.
Yes.
How has your life changed just in general since March of 2020?
Oh gosh. I think my life changed a lot. I think I found myself as a person through COVID just because I wasn't able to go outside, and I'm so extroverted. I thrive on social contact, so when I wasn't getting that, it was weird, and I just had to find myself through that. And luckily when I came to Queens, I did have my team, so that was a very nice transition into college. But oh gosh, I've just found myself as a person through this whole thing.
That sounds like a good thing.
Nice.
Right there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Excuse me.
What do you think your future will look like? Or the future will look like, if you want to answer that question.
I can do my future. So I want to be a speech pathologist. So what I mentioned earlier about the kids, I think that's what kind of sparked my interest in speech pathology, just seeing the regression in kids' speech with masks. So I think that affects my future a lot. I think this will affect the future of, I don't know, the world, because I think people would take it, at least future diseases and stuff that we don't know about, a lot more seriously instead of just joking about it, hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully.
Answer.
do you have any like additional stories or experiences that you can think of through COVID-19 or anything that I didn't ask you specifically that you would like to share?
I think, this could be emotional. Ready? So I think the moment that COVID really hit for me, I personally am grateful because I had not had any losses affected by COVID-19, but when it really hit for me, towards the beginning, I was sitting in my boss's office and we were talking about potentially closing the daycare, and my coworker, who is way older than me, she had 2 kids, she just started breaking down crying about how she didn't know how she was going to afford to feed her family. And I think that's when it really hit me, because of course I was just 18-year-old working with kids, I was having the time of my life, school was out, and I think that really hit for me. That was like, this is serious, this is affecting people's daily lives, and I need to take it more seriously.
Yeah.